Many of President Trump's allies are squirming today, trying to avoid the entanglement in this Ukraine plot. Mike Pence insisting Trump is trying to root out corruption, but not addressing his staff's claims that he was out of the loop on efforts to get the damaging information on Biden, even though his team was actually read in on the call. Pence met with Ukraine's president in September and then was asked by a reporter the next day if Biden was discussed. Take a look.
And the answer is no. But with President Zelensky yesterday, we discussed America's support for Ukraine and the upcoming decision the president will make on the latest tranche of financial support in great detail.
That financial support at the center of this plot. Meanwhile, Mike Pompeo faces a deadline of tomorrow to comply with a House Democratic subpoena. And today, the New York Times has Pompeo's criticism of the Obama administration back during the Republicans' Benghazi probe.
This is not the first congressional inquiry in the history of America. I dare you to go find another congressional inquiry where one party behaved in a way that was so deeply obstructive of getting the American people the facts that they needed.
I'm joined now by Peter Wehner. He's a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush, and he penned a recent article in the Times asking what's the matter with Republicans. Also joined by Rutgers professor Brittany Cooper. Peter, what is the matter?
Well, they bought into a corrupt man, and they have never gotten off the exit ramp, and his sins became theirs. They don't have the courage to stand up to him. They've put their own perceived self-interest above the interests of the country. They've engaged in the psychology of accommodation. They made accommodations early on with him. The more transgressive Trump began, the more accommodating the Republicans were. And now they are fully embraced and entwined with a man who's going down, and they're going to go down with him.
Take a listen. You lay it out pretty strong. Take a listen to Joe Biden, who spoke out on the other side of this whole scandal. This was last night.
So I'm not surprised Donald Trump asked a foreign government for help to beat me. I'm not surprised this president's allegations of wrongdoing against me have been debunked across the board by every major publication in the country. We have to do more than beat Donald Trump. We have to beat him like a drum.
Peter, given your experience, I'm wondering what you think of the way Joe Biden's handling this.
I think he's handling it. I think it's handling it fine. I mean, right now, I think Donald Trump is imploding. So I think the best thing he can do is just stand back and watch it. This is, I would say, we're somewhere between Act 3 and Act 4 of King Lear, and Lear's descent into madness. So, you know, I was listening to the earlier panel. I wouldn't overthink this. Donald Trump doesn't play four-dimensional chess here. This is a guy who has a primitive reflex on almost everything and is amoral. And I think he's kind of dissolving before our eyes. That said, I think, you know, Biden is handling it reasonably well. In the end, I would say that this election is going to be, whether it's about Democratic policies or about Trump's personality and his conduct. And so to the degree that Biden or anybody else, any other Democrat, can make it about Trump, the better for them. And Trump is giving them unbelievable ammunition to work with.
Brittany?
Yeah, you know, part of what I think is going on, a couple things. Like everyone has said today, he's trying to normalize bad behavior, and I think that we need to talk about that. I also think that he's trying to make sure that Biden is the opponent. This whole news cycle puts Biden back in the news in a way he wasn't really, you know, at the top of the sort of ticket of late. You know, it's been a story about Elizabeth Warren's great rise. I think Trump is trying to set who his opponent will be, and then I think he is then backdooring an Obama strategy. Let's remember that Trump trumped up the birther conspiracy that led to a lot of the country's distrust of President Obama's origin story. And now he's doing the same thing for Biden. So that if Biden were to win, he's delegitimating Biden's presidency or his shot at the presidency and then the way in which he would govern. And so this is the way that Trump plays politics. He's not just interested in winning. He's not just interested in having power. He's also interested in totally undermining our democratic system of governance by sort of seeding this broad disbelief in American institutions and their ability to do justice. And in that even if he is brought before with this impeachment inquiry, that you have a significant swath of the country that will not get on board with it because they will think that it's really a conspiracy against Trump.
And Peter, when you look at Pence in all of this, he's always been a very particular type of figure. When you look at his evangelical background and what he ran on and what he claimed to be for, and then jumping on board with Donald Trump. And we've got a little quick contrast to the way he used to talk about some of these issues and propriety and profiteering, and now. Take a look.
I think the American people have a right to know if the Vice President of the United States or his family profited from his position as Vice President during the last administration. Now, y'all need to know out there, this is basic stuff. Foreign donors and certainly foreign governments cannot participate in the American political process.
Foreign governments cannot participate in the political process. The president now is on record asking 3 different governments to go after his rivals, including today. At what point do you think Mike Pence finds a way to draw more contrast, or is he just going to wait this whole thing out?
I suspect he's going to try and wait it out. He's a person that I think is fundamentally weak, and if Trump or his aides turn on him, he's going to come back onto the into the Trump tribe. You know, this is just you know, we've seen this 1,000 times, these acts of hypocrisy on the Republican Party. But I do want to make one point, which is Pence is just the latest in a whole slew of people. Donald Trump's like a black hole in terms of the corrupt gravitational pull that he has. And almost everybody that's been around him, with the exception of, I'd say, Jim Mattis, has been pulled into it. And these are people, some of them were good, had good careers. I'm sure in a different reality would be good people. But they got close to him. They decided they were going to throw their hat over the Trump wall. And this is what happens. There's a huge amount of collateral damage in terms of people's integrity.
You know, when you call Donald Trump a black hole of corruption, that is definitely an astrophysics burn, Peter.
Thank you. I was wondering if you'd pick up on that. I'm glad you did.
Brittany?
Yeah, but were these people good people? I think they were corrupt from the top of their head to the soles of their feet. I think, and I think it's actually really important to say that with the sort of biblical resonance of it, because Mike Pence is a big evangelical Christian, and part of what you're seeing is that because Republicans chose to get in bed with this fascist, this autocrat, the implosion of every plank of what they say they believe in, is crumbling. So Pence is not a moral actor. He was actively involved in this shakedown of Ukraine, then came to the news and said we talked very specifically about financial incentives for Ukraine or our financial support of Ukraine. He's admitting to this stuff. And part of the thing that I worry about is that we're not holding Pence's feet to the fire in the way that we should. And this is a man who has said that God told him he would be president. And so I think that part of what we have to do is smash down this entire mode of governments and say that all of it is evil. It's deeply dishonest. Is anyone truly bothered by the fact that we have a president that governs by conspiracy theory?
Right. And that asks foreign governments to do the dirty work.
That's right.
It's really striking. I have to fit in a break. It's only 30 seconds, but I still have to do it. Peter Wehner and Brittany Cooper, thank you so much. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.